Today is Yoga for Stress, a gentle class. We are going to working with rounded, stressed shoulders. A lot of this class will be seated, so if you're not comfortable sitting crisscross applesauce on the mat, grab yourself a chair because it's important to be comfortable, especially if you suffer with a rounded low back or you have difficulty sitting like this for any period of time. So make sure that you're comfortable. This class is all about getting comfortable and relieving stress, not introducing stress into the body. So come on down to your mat. You're going to start on your back with your feet down, knees up, and your knees in, resting on each other. Try to land on the back and let the natural curves of the back be present. So you have a little curve in the low back, don't push it down to the ground. You have a little curve in the neck, try to lift your chin a little if your neck is flattening to the ground. And start to land on the mat. So it's a common place to hold stress in our shoulders, and a lot of people hold that stress for many different reasons. One of the things that we can do is check in on a breath. But another thing that we can do is create sacred space. So this shape is a protective shape. We're pulling in and protecting our internal heart, our spirit self. So maybe it's just gravity, maybe it's muscle tightness, but for some people this is a protective shape. So you're pulling in and drawing away from the world and protecting yourself. So it can be helpful to think and adjust and work with the mental, emotional, energetic layer as well. So as you're coming down to the mat, really start to think about, for the next 60 minutes, this space being sacred, this space being just you on the mat, having a physical experience at first, really protecting yourself just in this moment. So you're going to let go of yesterday, you're going to let go of tomorrow, and you're just going to be you on the mat. Start to land. Start to really feel the breath in the body. So as you're coming down and starting to address what's going on physically, notice where your shoulders are. So notice when you lay down on the ground, are your shoulders still pulling forward? Do you feel the need to bring your arms into a protective shape because your arms are not comfortable out? Maybe you need to find something to prop your arms up onto to be more comfortable. We want to let the shoulders know where the ground is. So maybe you put a blanket or a towel. You can add a little towel sometimes underneath the arm, just to give your arm the ability to land on the ground, or even in under the shoulder. So if your shoulder is particularly lifted, place something under here so that you're comforting it. You're telling it where the ground is. It's no longer just hanging out in space. So allow the shoulder to feel support below it. So then start to think about the shoulder bones, the shoulder blades, and think about them being big and heavy and really landing on the ground, pulling down, landing on the ground. If it's comfortable, try to get your arms out wide, palms up. Starting to really notice what the breath is doing. So again, one of the ways to work with the stress in the shoulders is to get to know what happens in our body. So often when we start to get stressed, things will happen in our body that we're completely unaware of. They're subconscious things. So we might begin to make fists when we get stressed. We might begin to pull inward to protect ourselves from any reaction we're scared of. We may start to really restrict the breath. We can even hold the breath and not even know it. So we're going to really focus in on the breath. So bring your hands together and rub them together and make them nice and warm. And you're going to place your hands just underneath the rib cage on either side. So think about the torso and there's nerves running down here that are very important. All the breathing muscles, all the digestion. Torso is important. So start to imagine the warmth of your hands is beginning to release any tension. Resting here. And really connect in and feel your hands. Trying to draw yourself away from the rumblings of the mind and land right here where your hands are. And as you start to land, are you slowing your breath? Maybe naturally, maybe not yet. Or if I mention slowing your breath, are you forcing a slow breath with lots of muscular action here? So try to be soft, 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 as soft as possible. Take a quick check-in on the low back. Make sure the low back is comfortable and you haven't pulled any tension into the low back, and also the neck. Maybe just a little slight press of the back of the rib cage into the ground. Teeny press, just to make sure that you're stable on the ground and nothing is pulling. You don't want to increase tension anywhere. Watch for those compensation patterns, especially in the lower back and neck. And want to try to be as soft as possible. So we're going to start to work with the breath. Intentionally bringing the breath nice and slow all the way down to our hands. Slow, slow breath in. Slow, slow breath out. Trying not to increase tension, but really just focus on filling up the lungs. And then if you store a lot of tension around the muscles of the breathing space, this may not be comfortable for you to do. You may have a lot of tightness here, but take your fingertips and feel around this space, just underneath the rib cage on either side of the digestive tract. So you're just feeling here as you're breathing nice and slow. And notice if you have any tightness here. Run your fingers around. Feel the muscles, feel this space. And as you're breathing slow, if you find a place that feels particularly tight, again, if this is not comfortable, if this is too much, just bring your warm, flat hands to this space and focus on your breath. So as you feel this space, as you're breathing nice and slow, if you find a point that seems to be holding a lot of tension, place your fingers here, not hard, but somewhat firm. Firm enough to feel them, but not increase tension up into the shoulders. And then imagine as you're breathing, you're going to gently pull that tension out towards the outside of the body, away from midline, out towards the outside. Gentle. This is really just an intentional. We're not yanking and pulling. We're not trying to activate too many muscles in the shoulders or the arms. It's just thinking about a little self-gentle, tiny massage. And really your hands are working with your breath. Maybe you can start to feel elsewhere in the body. Sometimes when we find places of tension, we might find a tingle in the left hip or something in the shoulder. Even though our hands are right here in the midline, we might find some releases happening somewhere else in the body. We have this fascial tissue throughout this body, this integrative weave of tissue that keeps everything together. And sometimes it can carry a lot of tension. And focusing on one part that might have a lot of tension may send releases throughout the body. Start to tune in, start to really get to know inside your own body. Sometimes you can get little messages of where in particular you're holding your tension. And thinking about our breath being a magical tool of breathing in fresh and releasing out tension. Breathing in fresh and sweeping away whatever is no longer needed. And then let your hands go. Soften into the torso again. So check. Make sure you've softened around the low back, the neck, the shoulders. And take the hands up. And just take slow, slow circles with the hands. Nice and slow. And back the other way. Slow as you can. We're not flopping through the joint in the wrist. We're trying to find the muscles in the hand and make some movements, releasing tension. And then keeping the lower body comfortable. This is important. So watch for the compensation patterns in your low back. You got a bigger muscle group down here. Low back, glutes, much bigger muscle groups. So they're going to want to do some of the work sometimes when we find weak muscles. So throughout class today, constantly checking in with these muscles and trying to get them to be soft and not doing all the work when we're focusing somewhere else. So if you have the towel or something underneath your shoulder, release it. And we're going to try and stay soft from the rib cage down. We're going to work with the shoulders. So bring your hands down to the ground near the hips. Press the hands into the ground. So watch what happens when you did this. Did you pull the shoulders slightly forward? And try and draw them back a little bit. Maybe you need to slide your hands a little bit up higher. Press the hands into the ground. Really press the hands into the ground and notice which muscles fire up. So you may have tension in the neck. The neck may be starting to do some work. The low back might be starting to do some work. So try and keep this muscular action from the rib cage up. You want to look for muscular action across the front of the shoulders, a little in the upper back. Breathe. So feel these muscles fired up. Take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, release everything, soften. Take the hands a little bit further away from the body. So about halfway between the hips and the shoulders, press the palms of the hands down. Fire up the muscles of the arms and shoulders, chest, a little bit between the shoulder blades. Soften the lower back, soften the torso, soften the neck and face. Press, feel these muscles fired up. Take a deep breath in, press a little harder, and then with the exhale, suddenly release. Feel what it feels like to be soft. Take the palms of the hands even with the shoulders. Press the palms of the hands into the ground. Notice which muscles are firing up now. Try to keep it above the rib cage. Soften the low back. Press, 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 press. Take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, soften. Bring the palms to face the ceiling, and now we're going to press the backs of the hands into the ground. And notice which muscles fire up. Press firmly. See if you can get some more muscles to fire up in the back of the shoulders. So in between the shoulder blades, across the back of the shoulders, fire, fire, fire up the muscles. Soften the low back, the face, the neck. Press, press, press. Take a big deep breath in. And then with the exhale, suddenly release. Notice your shoulders. Maybe give them a wiggle. See how they feel. Notice any changes. Particularly notice if one angle or one position was tougher than the other. It gives you information on where you might have a little muscle weakness. So we're going to move and breathe with our shoulders, but we're not lifting zombie arms. We're going to try and activate the muscles. So nice and neutral in the back. Make sure everything is nice and comfortable. We're going to press the hands down towards the ground, down onto the ground towards the hips. And we're going to activate as we inhale, draw the arms up over the head. Slow as you can, finding the muscles. And exhale, draw the arms back down. Active, pressing the breath out, pressing the arms towards the ground. Inhale, pull, pull, pull the arms up. And exhale, push, 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 push the arms down. So what to notice? Notice if you brought a lot of tension in the hips and the low back. Notice if you're now forcing the low back towards the ground to really get some more strength. Try to keep that neutral spine and soft low back. And keep all the muscular action happening from the rib cage up. Nice and slow. Try to soften the neck. Soften the face. Complete a full round and let the arms soften to the ground. Take a little wiggle just to make sure you reset and loosen any tension. Find your breath. And then bring your hands shoulder height, palms face the ceiling. And we're going to do that same thing, squeezing the muscles, not just flopping the arms. So take a deep inhale, and with the exhale, squeeze the arms up towards the midline. And inhale, open back up. Inhale as you open. Exhale as you squeeze back towards midline. Inhale, open. Watching for compensation patterns. Keep an eye on that low back. Keep it soft. Try not to bring too much tension into the torso, even in the breathing muscles and under the rib cage. We just want to be working the shoulders and arms right now. Complete a full round and then let your hands soften down to the ground. Take a little wiggle to reset. Notice how your shoulders are feeling. Maybe you found a new place of tension. Maybe your whole shoulder was feeling tense and you're starting to locate where the smaller issue is. Maybe you're starting to find that there's a little too much going on in the lower back when you're trying to just focus on the shoulders. Just check in. All kinds of questions to ask your physical body. What is going on here? So shoulder tension can also be above and below the problem. Whenever we have a problem, it can be above and it can be below. It can be a whole body issue. It can be a postural issue. There's lots of things to look for. So we're going to do a little bit of work with the neck just to see what's going on in the neck. So chin to the ceiling with a nice curve in your neck. Take a little press of the back of the head down into the ground. So just enough that you feel the back of the neck firing up a little. You don't want to be tense and tight. You want to fire it up, see how those muscles feel, and then particularly check in with what's going on in your compensation pattern. So we're just trying to fire up the neck. Did you start to fire up a low back muscle anywhere else? Are you pressing into your feet? Notice what's happening. Try to keep the shoulders soft. Press the back of the head down. Take a deep breath in. And with the exhale, soften the neck muscles. Take any hand onto the top of your forehead, palm down. I have sand on my hand. So palm down on the top of your forehead. So when we work with the neck, really important not to overstrain. You're just trying to connect with the muscles, find where the tension is. So we're going to rest our hand on our head, and we're just going to connect with that space without letting our head move. So we're just looking for intentional muscular action. So we're going to not press and force our hand into the ground or press and force our head into the hand. We're just going to press lightly with our hand and press our head into our hand and see if we can get muscles in our neck to fire up just a little. So press, hold your head where it is, and then press your head into your hand. This little two forces pushing against each other. See if you can find the muscles in the neck. Fire them up. Take your check-in. Notice what's going on elsewhere in the back. Fire up those neck muscles, and then take a deep breath. And with the exhale, soften, release the hand. Notice how the neck feels. Take the chin all the way over to the right shoulder. Feel the left side of the neck. Take the left hand down towards the hip. Place the palm down, and then push into the palm of the hand like you're pushing the hand away from you without letting it move. Feel the muscles, maybe move your chin a little. Nice and slow, gentle when we work with the neck. Really feeling your own neck and feeling your own tension. Let go of the tension in the left arm and slowly take the chin over to the left shoulder. Place the right hand down, palm down. Fire it up, push that arm away from you, and then find what's going on in the right side of your neck. Maybe move the chin a little. And then let go of the tension in the right hand. Take the chin back to neutral. Bring your knees in and give yourself a hug. Feel this protective shape. Connect with it. And then roll on over to a side and come on up to a seated position. So this is the time where you can grab the chair, sit on the chair, grab a cushion, make yourself comfortable. We're going to sit here for a while. Again, always looking to make sure we're not increasing stress and strain in the body. Not for this class. So land, get really tall in the spine. So one of the very common things to be doing with our shoulders is our forefathers told us, our ancestors told us to stand up straight. So what we did was we pulled our shoulders back and pulled our chin back and removed the natural curves from our body. So we get this pinch in our shoulders and we get this uncurved neck. And then what eventually happens is if we pull too hard, we can start to compensate. Our hips might go forward. All kinds of things happen because this tension becomes permanent in the body, and then we're stuck in this strange shape, and all kinds of things can start happening. So rather than thinking about sitting up straight, start to really think about your spine as if that we've all seen a spine, we've all seen like the scientific pictures of spines. So think about it. Think about all those curves. Think about that big set of bones at the base, our pelvic base. And then think about it not being a straight structure, but a beautiful curved structure. And then think about the space between each vertebrae. And just with your imagination, imagine little pockets of fluffy space between each vertebrae. And imagine getting longer from the crown of your head. So imagine perhaps your skull feeling lighter. And then pick up your hands. So your hands resting in your lap, pick them up and let them drop again. Try and let them drop naturally, not where you think they should be, but let them drop. And then notice your shoulders. So really look at your shoulders. Notice where they're at. We're going to take the base of our right hand and we're going to take it onto the chest and shoulder of the left side, and we're just going to take some circulation here. So try to keep the left arm nice and soft and rub circles right here. Switch sides, notice left and right shoulders, and then take the base of the left hand, circles right onto the shoulder, over the chest muscle, circles. Now we're going to do some exercises working with all of the angles our shoulders can move in. So it's important not to roll. We're not rolling. We're trying to connect with the muscles to find the places where we have weakness or tension or holding patterns. So one of the ways to show when we have weakness is maybe the muscle will cramp, or maybe somewhere else, like these big back muscles are going to start doing all the work. Or if you're really pushing into one hip, it's another hint that your shoulder is weak in a spot. So we're trying to locate weakness. Focus on locating what is going on inside all the complicated muscles of the shoulder, the chest, the mid-back, upper back. So, pull the shoulders all the way up to the ears. Squeeze the shoulders up to the ears. Pull, engage, feel which muscles are working. Pull the shoulder blades back towards each other while keeping them lifted. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Hold here. And then we're going to press the shoulder blades down. Hold here. So we're pressing down, squeezing the shoulder blades together. What's going on in your mid-back, low back, hips? Try and see if you can still remain a little bit soft down here. I'm working from the rib cage up today. So try and be soft. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then we're going to work with our breath. So inhale as we draw the shoulder blades, squeeze together in the back, up. Exhale as we draw them down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Hands can be wherever they're comfortable. Arms can be wherever they're comfortable. Not too tight in the arms. We're working in the shoulder blades and the upper back. Inhale up. Exhale, squeeze down. Move with your breath. Watch for compensation in the face, in the neck, in the low back. And then lower the shoulders. Little wiggles. Release. Notice how you feel. And then thinking about from the sternum, the movement is going to come right from mid-chest. We're going to bring our hands together. So if you have sore wrists, make light fists and bring fists together. Otherwise, spread hands wide. So we're going to bring our hands towards each other and we're going to activate the arms. So not touching, but towards each other, activate the arms. So start to feel all the muscles of the arms. I'm going to draw the sternum back. So it's a teeny movement. This is my sternum moving through mid-back and upper back. This is my whole spine moving. We don't want the whole spine doing the work. We're trying to isolate and move just between the shoulders. So small movement, slow, controlled, and with our breath. So draw the sternum back. Inhale as we open. Exhale as we squeeze hands together and draw the sternum back. Watch for the compensation patterns. Watch for what the low back is doing. Are you pressing into a hip or a foot? Again, if you're not comfortable in this seat, go to a chair. Be comfortable in your low back. Bring it down. Lower the arms. Take some resets. Maybe even flick the arms. Soften, loosen. Find your breath. Center. We're going to work through a movement in the shoulder. So beginning with the right hand, take your right hand, thumb up, arm strong. So engage the arm, engage the shoulder. Watch for what's going on everywhere else. Try to be soft. We're just working arm and shoulder and chest. So we're going to take the arm slow as you can all the way towards the ceiling, slow as you can, and trying to keep it close to your torso. Close, close, close. When you get to the point where you feel like you're trapped, you can't go any further, flip the palm. So you're going to turn the palm out, and then turn slow and let the arm come towards the back, all the way down towards the hips, slow. So as you're starting to do this, you're going to twist a little through upper back and torso, not like this. So little twist, little movement, opening up the shoulder. You should be holding this hand active and strong. The front of the chest and shoulders should be active and strong. Slowly bring the hand back up towards the ceiling, slow as you can. Find the muscles. Look at what's going on, left lower back. And when you get to that point, flip the palm. And then bring the hand all the way slowly back down, slow as you can. Slow it. Find the muscles, find the movement. And let it go. Reset, see how it feels. Take a look at left and right, notice how they feel. Move on to the left hand, thumb up, active arm, nice and strong. So not pushing out, shoulder is neutral, active arm, strong. Slowly bring it up, slow, 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 slow. When you get to the point where you're stuck, flip the palm and let a little turn happen through the upper spine. A little turn, teeny turn. Watch for grabbing, watch for gripping. Bring it down, hold it. So everything is strong and active. Arms strong, shoulders strong. Maybe you're starting to feel a little tension in underneath the left shoulder blade to hold it here. And then slowly bring it up. When you get to that point where it can't go any further, flip the palm and then bring it back down as slow, 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 slow as you can. Let it go. Feel left and right sides. Notice if one side was harder than the other. Take a little wiggle, reset, find your center. We're going to do a couple of mid-back, upper back, shoulder exercises. So again, watching for what's going on in the low back. We want to bring all the focus in the mid-upper back muscles. So we're going to bring our arms, palms to face each other, shoulder height, shoulder width. We're going to inhale as we slowly draw the right hand towards the right. And all the movement is going to come from above the rib cage. So it's not a huge twist, it's a slight twist. We're going to open slow as we can towards the right. Slow, 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 slow. Let the head follow if it's comfortable. And then bring it back. Slow, 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 slow. Trying to feel every muscle and every angle. Inhale, open left side. Slow, slow, slow. Exhale, draw back to center. Slow, 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 slow. Take a couple of rounds, slow as you can, watching for your compensation patterns. There's no competition. There's no goal for how far you go. The goal is to get to know your muscles. Get to know where you're holding the tension. Get to know where you're strong. Get to know where you're weak. Get to know where you're gripping. So particularly paying attention if you're pulling into the muscles of the hips, the low back. Soften the neck, soften the face. Bring it back. Hold your hands. Imagine you're squeezing a block. And then draw the shoulder blades back towards each other, still squeezing. And then push forward, arms reach. Draw back, push forward, draw back, slow, controlled, find the movement, push forward. Let the hands go, soften, loosen. Find your breath. We're going to bring the hands so that the upper arms are squeezing in towards the torso. Palms are going to face up, shoulder distance apart. Soft, low back, soft. No tension anywhere in the neck and the face. We're going to activate the arms. So imagine maybe you hold fists. You can imagine you're holding big heavy weights. So we can create resistance with our own muscles so that it is almost like we're using weights. We want to create that resistance. So make the arms strong and active. Try to keep all of the muscle action above the rib cage. So look at the low back, look at the mid back. We want it to be in between the shoulders and across the chest. Inhale, open the arms out nice and slow, squeezed muscles. Exhale, squeeze them towards midline. Inhale, open. Palms can be open if that's more comfortable. Notice when you start to use your low back, try to keep it above the rib cage. Squeeze. Find resistance in your own muscles. Activate your muscles. And then let that go. Little reset, shake it out, loosen, soften. And then we're going to make W's. So bring the arms up, open wide, draw the elbows back behind you. So draw them behind you. It's about halfway down. So this is all the way down, this is about halfway. So when you did that, which muscles were you using to do it? Try and get it right up in across the mid back. Not lower back. Up high, around about rib cage height. And then we're gonna pull our elbows towards each other, activate these muscles, and exhale, push away. Inhale, pull, exhale, push, nice and slow. Finding the muscles at the back, looking for the muscles that you're using that were not invited to the party. Check in on the hips, check in the back, the low back, check in the glutes. Soften your face. Let the arms soften down and take some wiggles, some softness. Loosen it out. Find your breath. Bring your hands to your shoulders. So hands come to shoulders. Elbows come towards midline. So soft at first, set up. We're going to bring our elbows shoulder height and draw them in towards each other. Squeeze the muscles. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze in. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze in. If this is not comfortable, just bring your arms up. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze in. Lower the arms, soften, reset, find your breath. Take your chin all the way down towards your chest and feel the tension in the back of the neck. Connect with any tension in the back of the neck. Take your chin to the ceiling and push the chin up. Feel the front of the neck. Back to neutral, ear to shoulder. And back to neutral, ear to other shoulder. Back to neutral, turn the chin. And back to neutral, turn to the other direction. Back to neutral. And check in. Rub your hands together, make yourself nice and warm. Make your hands nice and warm. And take those circles across the left shoulder with the right hand. And then the right shoulder with the left hand. And then bring both hands right up underneath the collarbones. So feel here. Try to feel here without bringing tension anywhere into the back. Just feel any tightness. Maybe there's tightness, maybe there's not. Just noticing. And then slowly coming through tabletop, make your way down to crocodile pose. We're not going to be here for long, so take it slow coming down. Find crocodile pose. One hand on top of the other, forehead down, shimmy the hips, and notice what is present in the shoulders in this pose. Find your breath. We're just going to work through a range of motion of the shoulders. So this time a little softer. We're going to bring our hands out wide. And we're going to lift up a little bit. Not too much muscular action. We want to take this flowy and just kind of moving through our shoulders. We're going to turn and look towards the right foot and lower left shoulder. Nice and slow towards midline. Turn and look at left foot, lower right shoulder. And as you get the hang of it, start to take any kind of movements that feel good, as if releasing holding patterns, looking for creaks and groans and ways that maybe your body's holding tension, moving with your breath. Inhale as you lift, exhale as you turn. So there's all kinds of schools of thought that say we must not move our spine or our back or our neck in certain ways, but the truth is day-to-day life does move our body in all kinds of strange shapes and fashions. And if we don't build up muscular knowledge, that's when the injury can happen. So moving through all the angles our shoulder can move in. Moving through all the angles our upper back can move in. Feeling, experiencing what is going on. Making this movement as large or as small as you want to make it. Press a little bit into the hands, letting the head be wherever the head is comfortable. So there's a little bit of muscular action going on here. Press into the hands, lifting the shoulders. Watch for the low back doing all the work. And then bring it back down. Crocodile pose. Shimmy and loosen. Find your breath. And then slowly tucking the toes, making your way back to a tabletop position. So we're going to hang out in tabletop for just a little exercise. So, sorry here. Left hand even with the shoulder. So we want to open up and stretch through the chest, the upper chest. So we're going to take the left hand, place it down, and push into it. So activate the chest first. So we're going to be wherever our low back is comfortable. We don't want to bring any tension into the low back. Press into that hand and then open up. So we're not pushing the left shoulder down, but we're pulling the right shoulder open and pulling into the chest, across the chest. Leave some tension here. Right hand can come up if that's comfortable. It can remain on the ground. It can come to a block. We just want to connect with opening across this left chest and shoulder. Breathe. Bring it back to tabletop. Take a little reset. And then right hand out wide, shoulder height. press into the hand without letting it move, and then draw the left shoulder open without dropping the right shoulder down. So stretching into the chest and across the front of the shoulder. Breathe with an active arm, active shoulder. So this is not passive. Release, and then come back down to your back. So take your time, coming down to your back. We're getting really close to our resting pose. So get all your pops, anything that you need for your resting pose. We're going to begin with feet down, knees up, just as we started. So take some wiggles, take some resets. Notice where your shoulders are. Notice if they're in a different spot. Notice if they feel a little different. Maybe they feel tighter, maybe they're pulling, maybe we increase some tension. But increasing tension is okay. It's so long as we get to know the muscle tension. So we're looking to find it so we can get to know it. So we're going to take some wiggles through our shoulders to try and reset. So we're just looking for that soft wiggling muscle to reset the muscle. Sometimes just to wiggle the muscle. This is why massage helps. Sometimes just to wiggle the muscle can reset and move some of that tension. So we want jelly muscles. We bring our hands down wherever it's comfortable to place our hands down. And we're going to push the weight left and right. So I'm pushing into the palm of my hand lightly and wiggling, shaking. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Trying to get the wiggles across the chest and shoulders. Letting the torso wiggle. Maybe moving the arms and changing the wiggle a little. Noticing which one feels better for you. Trying to loosen, 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 soften. Maybe you can really get the muscles of the stomach loosening and softening. Feel the wiggles. Take a deep breath in. And with the exhale, release and soften. Allow the body to land. Find your breath. We're going to make our hands warm again and place them back and see if we brought any tension back into the torso and around the breathing muscles. Feeling our breath, feeling the space. You can either play with pulling with the fingers or just keep your hands soft in this space and let the warmth of your hands remind you to soften here. And then begin to take your check-in ready for your resting pose. So maybe you're more comfortable with props underneath the knees. Maybe you want your feet on a chair. Trying to have yourself, unless you feel like you need a really protective pose today, if you need to curl up in a ball, you curl up in a ball. But if you can, trying to have your shoulders on the ground and doing that check-in to see if your shoulders need a little assistance to know where the ground is. Place something under them, something tiny, something soft. Because as you begin to relax, it needs to be something that you can kind of melt into. So don't use a book, don't use something hard, something like a towel, a blanket, something soft. Place it just so that your shoulders know where the ground is. And start to bring all your awareness to breathing across the front of the chest and shoulders and softening and letting them allow a softening across this space, releasing their burden into the ground. So as you start to prepare, I am going to read from Prayers of Honoring Voice by Pixie Lighthorse. Feel free to tune me out, but this one I think is wonderful for shoulder stress class, prayer of honoring fear. So again, not all of our physical problems are purely physical. So sometimes we might have shoulder tension because we've been stressed and holding our breath and protecting. We might have rounded shoulders because of gravity, because of the way that we've been sitting at the desk. We may have rounded shoulders because we've been protecting our heart space. We've had a lot of trauma. We're feeling protective and we're really afraid of leading with our heart and lifting and leading heart forward with our posture and with our life. So, honoring fear. Thank you for this day of acknowledging the nature of what is prompting me to flee. My fears are stopping me, keeping me small and hidden in a corner. Stand me up and set me free from the tiny room of shadows in which my voice wavers and my shoulders shudder. Help me call them out and name them, beckon them forward so that I may face them. Be my strength when I order them to back down. Help me relocate them out of power. When my throat locks up and silence is thick on my tongue, coat it with your bright blue light of courage. Arm me with a sword of light to slice through the illusions that I have too long believed about myself. Train me to dodge their advances with the mastery of spiritual Aikido and deflect them with cuffs of gold. Train me for the familiar battle with my worries, troubles, and imprints and memories. Guide me smoothly through the challenges and anxieties of the unknown. Redefine my relationship to uncertainty. Light up the room with a shining white glimpse of life on the other side of these consuming and sometimes irrational discouragements. Remind me that a few of my fears actually come true, and even if they did, it does not mean they always will. Equip me not for the worst that can happen, but suit me up with determination to take all things into consideration with a reasonable and quiet mind before shrinking back reflexively. Give me pause to reflect before reacting. Let me listen with the heart of a loving parent to the part that is afraid to cross the shaky bridge. Let me not be daunted by the devouring sensation of fright, but instead thank it audibly for its warning and attempt to protect me from harm. Let me learn a new way to console my fears and talk to myself through the process. Demonstrate how I can gently dismantle terror and soothe my uneasiness with the wisdom of what I know to be true. Let my voice feel the fright and speak anyway. It is okay if it trembles. It will not always be this way if I practice. Help me to understand what it is like to be free and take measured steps to get there. Fill my lungs with assurance and hope. So we worked physically, we worked with the breath, we worked with a little kind of spiritual voice from Pixie. Now we're going to work with the imagination. So bring your attention and awareness to the center of your chest, your heart center, your metaphysical heart, your spirit center, your soul center, whatever helps you connect to this space. In many of the traditions, we think about these balls of energy that are placed in certain places in our spine. What I find is super interesting is these go far back before we knew much about anatomy, and they happen to coincide with nerve bundles along our spine. So thinking about the heart center one, the nerve bundle, the energetic center right in the chest. You can place all of your awareness here, thinking more scientifically or thinking in some other way, or you can bring a little ball of energy right here. A swirling ball of energy. And give it a temperature. It can be warm or it can be cooling. Maybe you feel inflamed and tight. Maybe you feel like you need some cooling, or maybe you feel like you need some warming to this space. Check in. Work with what you need to work with. Your ball can have a color. Traditionally, it's most often given green or pink, but give it any color you want. Give it the color that helps you feel very, very connected to this space, right here, center of the chest. Imagine your ball is swirling like a little soft cleaning swirl. A little sweeping wind in this space, cleaning, softening, releasing things no longer needed. As we go through life, we build up protective walls around our heart each time it feels like our heart is broken, metaphysical heart. We build up these walls, and it draws our shoulders in. It draws our heart back, protects us, it keeps us feeling strong. However, it also stops us from being able to connect into this space and feel the magic of this space, our own true spirit. So maybe imagine your walls starting to sweep away, not thinking about what the stories are, not cognitively giving an explanation, but imaginatively sweeping away what's no longer needed here, thanking it for its protection, thanking it for its strength, and letting it soften away. Connecting to the idea that as we move through yoga, we do lead with our heart, but it's not because we believe our heart will never get broken. It's because we believe that when it happens, we are strong enough to connect within and guide ourselves through. Imagine the sweeping wall taking some of the weight from your shoulders, softening all the muscles that have carried their burden, drawing you down into the earth to be protected and carried. Letting your body soften, release tension. Letting your heart soften and release tension. And if you have some time to give today, please take some time softening into this position. And whenever the mind or distractions call you back, gently, softly, returning to the sensation of a little ball of energy right at our heart center. With forgiveness and kindness to the mind. The mind distracts. It's the mind's job. The mind just runs around. And it's not a failure to get caught away in the thoughts and fears. Yoga is a practice. Meditation is a practice. We just gently draw back in and try again. If you need to finish up on the 60-minute mark, we're coming right up on that right now. So begin to land back into the ground. And slowly curl up in a ball in a fetal position, still keeping your focus right in on the heart center. And then in a fetal position, imagine that you're wrapped in a protective bubble. And imagine, imaginatively, not cognitively, not thinking of a memory, not thinking of an experience, but thinking of dropping some things, some burdens that we perhaps no longer need. Not that we're denying that they ever happened. Not that we're denying that we ever had to forgive or lose or have a traumatic experience, We are landing on the mat and getting ready to let go of the path in our head that we constantly follow to remind ourselves. We're letting go of the burden. We're letting go of carrying it with us and allowing it to just be there. It's there. Allowing some kind of vision, some kind of imagination to letting some of those burdens drop onto your mat. Maybe you imagine an energy. Maybe you imagine you have baggage on your shoulders. You're just going to take them off and put them down. Particularly, let go of some of the baggage of the cruel words we use towards ourselves. They are the most damaging, despite all of the things that we go through in our life. The way that we treat ourselves can be the most damaging. And then slowly bring yourself to a seated position, trying to connect with the concept of coming up lighter, feeling softer. Bring your hands to prayer at your heart space. Connect with connecting your left and right sides to meet in front of your heart. Gesture of accepting ourselves as whole and complete, precisely as we are. And with our hands of prayer at heart space, from our heart center, imagine sending this energy out into your space. You can send it to someone particular. You can send it to someone you love. You can send it to just an imaginary bubble of your community. Trust in the power of our imagination, of our feelings, that sending out kindness makes a difference in our own lives and the lives of others. Thank you so much for joining me today. I can hear Puggy snore.